Man, you know, you're asking, I can't draw you a picture of what you're supposed to look for.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. I can draw you a picture. It's just a picture. It doesn't have the cold. It doesn't have the movement. It takes time in the water and getting better and better at your want and desire to become a better surfer. You just don't go, oh, there's the uneven parallel bars, and I'm going to be a gymnast. I read it in the book here, so I saw how they did it in the movie. I'm just going to run do it. No, it starts with being on one bar, figuring that out, and then you can go to the next bar. It's one of those things where it takes time, dedication, and calculation and study. You have to study the ocean. If you don't study the ocean, you just take it for face value. It's just pictures. If you don't dig into the nuts and bolts of how the ocean works, how the water moves, the differences between a long interval swell and a short interval swell, the way your favorite beach changes when the waves are 2 foot to when they're 10 feet, you have to add all that into your memory banks. That's all stored memory that you need to draw on for your whole life of surfing. When I started surfing, safety was learning how to swim. There weren't leashes. I swam in every time I fell off my board because there weren't leashes. Think about that. Every time you make a mistake, you have to swim. So the way you approach every wave is much more calculated. Your timing has to be really good. You don't want to swim 52-degree water. Who wants to swim in that? Timing in the ocean is learning the nature of how a wave breaks, learning the nature of everything that is in the ocean. You have to be aware of the rips. You have to be aware of the rocks, the size of the waves. I learned it by spending most of my days as a kid at the beach and the reefs all day, seeing them at high tide, seeing the reef at low tide, being able to watch how the waves interacted with the bottom of the ocean floor or with that reef. At low tide, I saw what those waves were breaking over. At high tide, I saw what the bottom of the floor did and how it shaped those waves. So at a really young age, I developed an acute awareness of the dynamics of how a wave breaks. When I look at a surf spot, I look at the water, the way the water moves on the whole beach. There's places where the water is going straight out to sea. There's places where the water's pushing all the way to the sand. And you have to be able to recognize that. And the only way you can recognize that is by putting yourself in the ocean time and time and time and time again. If you don't have the water time, you don't have the experience to even recognize it, to have a clue of what you're looking at. When you lose your board, you have to know exactly where you're going. If it's a beach break, you have to know where the rips are coming out, where the shallow spots are, where you can actually get to the beach the quickest. You swim into a channel that's going offshore, you're going offshore. So always know where you are in the ocean when you catch that wave. Your basic GPS is landmarks. A near shore landmark, and then, you know, like in San Francisco, you can look down the streets. You can see the street go all the way up the hill, right? And how that relates to where the different sandbars are. And it's the big picture. It's not just a wave that you're going after. You're entering the ocean, which is huge. There's longshore currents. There's a lot of danger out there.